basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. What type of deals would work for the Warriors? Despite the good squad, the Warriors have demonstrated weaknesses that do not allow them to be favorites for the championship. At the trade deadline, some stars will certainly be available for trade, and it will be the Warriors' opportunity to bring in a star and restore the dynasty. Rumors: Warriors have great interest in trading for Jimmy Butler. Even though the Golden State Warriors are currently one of the top teams in the Western Conference, they'll keep getting linked to trades for a second All-Star until the team finds a new partner for Steph Curry. One name who is frequently mentioned with the Warriors is Miami Heat superstar Jimmy Butler. The latest idea from Dan Favale of Bleacher Report has a massive trade idea between the Golden State Warriors, Miami Heat, and the Toronto Raptors to get Butler to the Warriors. Miami Heat receive Jonathan Kuminga, DeAnthony Melton, Andrew Wiggins, Golden State's 2025 first-round pick, 2026 first-round swap, via Golden State's 2027 first-round pick, Atlanta's 2028 second-round pick, Golden State's 2030 first-round pick, protected numbers 21 to 30. Golden State Warriors receive Jimmy Butler, Bruno Fernando, Josh Richardson. Toronto Raptors receive Gary Payton II, into non-taxpayer MLE, Atlanta's 2026 second-round pick, via Golden State, Miami's 2031 second-round pick, top 55 protection. In all honesty, the Warriors would be giving up way too much for a 35-year-old Jimmy Butler who can't stay healthy. Golden State would be giving up all of their young players who are capable of doing the dirty, but also giving up numerous first-round picks. For a haul like that, the team has to be getting a recent All-NBA player. For where the Golden State Warriors are right now in the standings, there is absolutely no reason to pull a panic trade like this yet. Steve Kerr and Warriors may need to ditch 7-game lineup experiment. It's not working, but what's the alternative? The Golden State Warriors fell to their third straight loss on Wednesday night, with their offense failing to execute in the closing stages as their comeback effort went to waste against the Oklahoma City Thunder. A 19-point first-half deficit turned into a 3-point lead for the Warriors with just under 6 minutes remaining, but they desperately missed 2x MVP Stephen Curry as the Thunder escaped with a 105-101 victory. Steve Kerr still has decisions to make on the starting lineup. With Curry on the sidelines due to a knee issue, Steve Kerr went small with Draymond Green at center, allowing the returning Jonathan Kuminga to take a starting role alongside Brandon Podziemski, Lindy Waters III and Andrew Wiggins. Kuminga had an up-and-down performance, which almost sums up his entire career to date. The 22-year-old went scoreless in the first and fourth quarters, yet was arguably the biggest reason Golden State got back into the game with 19 combined points in the second and third periods. As important as Kuminga was in playing over 28 minutes, Kerr revealed after the game that Curry's expected return on Saturday will likely see Tracy Jackson-Davis return in a more traditional starting lineup. We definitely will play that smaller lineup with JK at the 4 and Draymond at the 5 plenty coming up, but my gut would be to keep starting the way we've been starting with Tracy and Draymond, Kerr said after the 4-point defeat. But while the Kuminga versus Jackson-Davis debate may dominate discussion, Kerr may have a bigger issue with the form of his starting shooting guard in Waters. The 27-year-old has now started 7 games since the season-ending injury to DeAnthony Melton, having initially vaulted from entirely out of the rotation in the 3 previous games. Waters has averaged 7.4 points over the last 7 games, shooting 37.3% from the floor and 34.3% from three-point range. That's not ideal given his primary role is as a shooter, with the fourth-year guard going 1 of 7 from deep against his former team on Wednesday. It might be time for Kerr to end the Waters experiment, at least within a starting role. The issue is there's no one really putting their hand up to replace him. Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski have each been inefficient and haven't contributed to winning during the same period, while Gary Payton II leaves the team with too many non-scoring options. Buddy Hield has proved himself best in a spark plug role off the bench, and Kerr doesn't appear keen on going back to the original starting lineup with Andrew Wiggins at the 2 alongside Kuminga, Green and Jackson Davis in the front court. Either way, Kerr and the Warriors have an issue they need to address, with Melton's absence continuing to be a glaring one that's starting to become an ongoing problem. Warriors reportedly out on one All-Star trade target. At a solid 12-6 on the season, the Golden State Warriors apparently do not intend to rock the boat. Veteran NBA writer Mark Stein reported to his Substack on Friday that the Warriors do not have much interest at the moment in a trade for Chicago Bulls All-Star guard Zach LaVine. Stein notes that Golden State previously weighed a LaVine pursuit internally, but their interest apparently seems to have cooled. LaVine, an 11-year NBA veteran and 2-time All-Star, is still only 29 years old and remains a very gifted pure scorer, averaging 21.6 points per contest this season on a career-high 51% from the field. But the perpetually mediocre Bulls have been attempting to trade him for years now, which is a difficult task given that he is still under contract through 2027 at over $43 million per year. The Warriors lost Klay Thompson in the offseason and also recently lost a key guard addition to a season-ending injury. But at third in the West at the moment with the NBA's fourth-ranked defense, it does not look like Golden State will shake things up by trying to add LaVine and his bloated contract. Stephen Curry update gives huge opportunity to under-fire Warriors guard. The Warriors are likely to have a tough time against the Thunder. The Golden State Warriors announced on Wednesday that superstar guard Stephen Curry would miss their second meeting with the Oklahoma City Thunder, leaving the team with a huge challenge to try and defend home court against the best team in the Western Conference. Curry has played through knee bursitis in recent games, but has now succumbed to patellofemoral pain after playing less than 30 minutes in Monday's 128-120 loss to the Brooklyn Nets. According to Anthony Slater of The Athletic, there's no concern of this being a significant issue for the 2x MVP as Curry is expected to return in Saturday's game against the Phoenix Suns. Stephen Curry's absence leaves a huge opportunity for Brandon Podziemski. Brandon Podziemski is expected to step into the point guard role, having done so when Curry missed 3 games earlier in the season. The second-year guard played well in those outings, averaging 14.7 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 6.0 assists as Golden State went 3-0 without their best player. But since then Podziemski has come under fire for his underwhelming play, with many having expected a leap from the 21-year-old after an impressive first season that culminated in all-rookie first-team honors. Following those 3 games as a starter, Podziemski has scored 3 points or less in 6 of his 10 games. Often the plus-minus leader for the Warriors, he's recorded a positive plus-minus in just 3 of the 10 games. Undoubtedly the biggest issue for Podziemski is his shooting efficiency, having failed to rediscover the stroke that saw him drill 38.5% of his threes last season. Despite taking 0.4 threes more per game, the former 19th overall pick is only 19.3% from three-point range and 36.8% from the field overall. Wednesday night's game gives Podziemski a huge opportunity to try and silence the doubters, particularly given he'll be facing arguably the biggest challenge in the league. Whereas he faced the New Orleans Pelicans and Houston Rockets over his previous 3-game stint as a starter, Podziemski will now fill in against the league's best defense who could quite easily suffocate a Curry-less Warrior offense. A big performance would certainly help to restore some faith that's been lost among the fanbase, not to mention Golden State need to snap their 2-game losing streak before it becomes more significant. The Warriors are 20-11 in Podziemski's 31 games as a starter in his career, perhaps providing an element of optimism that the franchise can win and tie the Thunder for best record in the West.